In the video, a Western reporter was watching Chinese protesters outside a bank. When he wanted to approach the petitioners for an interview, he was pushed to the ground by the Chinese police.
Hello, hey, what are you doing? What do you want? Hey, who are you?
Je merkt het, de spanning is enorm. Worden alle kanten opgeduwd.
Look, they took the foreigner away.
Don't record it. Bring it over. Bring the phone over.
A journalist attempting to approach a crowd for coverage was expelled by security personnel and police, which is a common occurrence, highlighting the lack of freedom in China. For instance, the Chinese Communist Party's recently enacted anti-spy law has increased the number of silenced people. One such victim is Emily Chen, deemed a spy by the CCP. Chen, who previously worked for an American enterprise in China, disappeared after arriving in Nanjing from Qatar last December. It's rumored she was arrested by authorities on espionage charges and is currently under house arrest and monitoring. Her husband, Mark Lent, a U.S. citizen, stated in an interview that Emily had sent a message to her family confirming her safe arrival after landing at Nanjing Lukou Airport. However, she couldn't be contacted thereafter. 4 days later, Emily's son received a letter from the National Security Department in Dalian stating that she had been arrested on December 30th for allegedly illegally providing state secrets overseas. Lent said his wife would never engage in espionage activities against her native country. Her only connection to Dalian was assisting in establishing an office for the U.S. logistics company Safeports for nearly 4 months last year. The CEO of Emily's company also clarified to the media that Emily's assistance work at Safeports was purely administrative and did not involve Chinese state secrets. However, despite these clarifications, the CCP has not released Emily. Another individual targeted by the CCP is Yang Hengjun, officially referred to as Yang Jun, an Australian-Chinese writer. Born in Hubei, China, Yang worked within the CCP government until 1999 before immigrating to Australia in 2000 and obtaining Australian citizenship in 2002, though he continued to live in Guangzhou. After immigrating to Australia, Yang gained notoriety under the pseudonym Democratic Peddler. He frequently wrote commentary on Chinese politics and established online and offline forums on WeChat to promote democracy. During this period, he also authored a spy novel, Fatal Weakness, prompting the CCP to investigate and persecute him. In January 2019, Yang returned to China from New York and was arrested by national security officers at Guangzhou Airport. The Chinese Ministry of Foreign Affairs accused him of engaging in activities endangering national security. However, Yang has refused to plead guilty and denies all official charges. On February 5, 2024, Australian Foreign Minister Penny Wong disclosed in a statement that Yang had been sentenced to death by the CCP government with a 2-year reprieve. CCP Foreign Ministry spokesperson Wang Wenbing later confirmed this, stating that Yang was sentenced to death on espionage charges and had all his personal property confiscated. Online rumors suggest that the CCP accused him of selling 31 top-secret and 9 confidential documents to Taiwan while working at the Hainan State Security Bureau, for a total of approximately 4.4 Hong Kong dollars. However, Professor Feng Chongyi at the University of Technology, Sydney, said that the judgment stated Yang Hengjun was accused of leaking state secrets to a Taiwanese intelligence officer in 1994. The news of Yang's death sentence shocked the international community. Professor Feng expressed on social media, "This is severe political persecution. The accusation against Yang of providing intelligence to Taiwan during his time working in Hong Kong in 1994 is absurd. His true intention was to promote democracy, freedom, and the rule of law online. If he had really committed a crime, he wouldn't have returned to China." Renowned commentator Hu Ping also questioned the CCP's actions. If Yang Hengjun had actually committed the alleged crimes, the authorities should have sentenced him to a harsh punishment long ago. Why wait so many years to pass the sentence now? The establishment of the anti-spy law and the definition of espionage crimes have served the CCP's dictatorial intentions. Professor Feng pointed out that the CCP government's definition of espionage is highly ambiguous. While the concept of state secrets was relatively clear in the past, the new version of the national security law includes many economic data and government documents not marked as classified. Many insignificant documents are all included in the scope of intelligence. More importantly, whether the information involved constitutes a state secret is entirely determined by the CCP's Security Department. In essence, once you enter Chinese territory, whether you are suspected of espionage is entirely determined by the CCP government. They can restrict your personal freedom or even imprison you at any time using spying as an excuse. Since the implementation of the revised anti-espionage law on July 1st last year, the CCP has expanded the scope of espionage activities, increasing the original 44 articles to 71. It even allows for retroactive punishment and promises rewards of over 100,000 RMB to informants. These measures bear resemblance to the methods employed during the Cultural Revolution, where the Communist Party instigated people to denounce each other, except this time the CCP is targeting employees of foreign corporations in China. Professor Feng also believes that this is essentially a disguised form of basket crime or pocket crime. This means that the CCP authorities can arbitrarily charge anyone based on political needs. In this sense, anyone entering China, including government officials, businessmen, and journalists, may be classified as dealing with state secrets simply by accessing information, including historical documents for academic purposes. Individuals have no procedure for self-defense, with no independent judiciary or courts outside of the control of the CCP. In late January of this year, the Chinese State Security Department issued an article titled 10 Cups of Tea, warning residents and transit passengers in China that they might be invited for tea by the National Security Agency if they are involved in crimes endangering national security, engaging in espionage activities, or illegally obtaining or holding state secrets. Tea is a euphemism for arrest and detention. As reported by the UK Financial Times, on October 21st last year, a senior executive and two former employees of Group M, a subsidiary of the British advertising company WPP, were arrested by Chinese authorities on suspicion of bribery. A Chinese employee responsible for rare metal business in a Japanese trading company was detained by the relevant Chinese authorities, and employees of Chinese companies doing business with this trading company were also detained. This incident was reported by the Nikkei. In 2023, the Chinese police conducted raids on the Shanghai office of Bain & Company, a U.S. management consulting firm, and the Beijing office of Mintz & Group, a U.S. due diligence firm. According to a report by Nikkei, since 2014, Chinese authorities have detained 17 Japanese nationals, including an employee of Astellas Pharma, with 5 individuals still not released. A series of crackdowns have not only unnerved foreign enterprises, but also triggered condemnations from the United States. The American Chamber of Commerce criticized the Chinese authorities for not keeping their word. Ramona Sheng, a Chinese-Canadian writer and the deputy director of Federation for Democratic China, believes that the reason for the Chinese authorities taking such actions is to create enmity among the people. Under this system, everyone reports on each other. She further pointed out that the new espionage law offers a substantial reward for successful informants, up to 500,000 RMB. In such a system, many people are accused of espionage, especially those who work for foreign enterprises, live abroad, or have connections overseas. In today's Chinese society, divisions lead to extreme inequality, which fuels jealousy and malice. The survival strategy for officials within the CCP system is to encourage one's own people to perform desperately, even fabricating cases to establish their accomplishments, turning minor cases into major ones. As a result, the scope of those who are targeted and persecuted will continue to expand. This widespread accusation of espionage is created by the CCP's autocratic system, not because there are suddenly so many spies, but because the system is creating opposing camps and enemies. The cases of foreign employees being arrested will definitely affect China's economy because more people are starting to worry about their own safety. It is inevitable that more foreign-funded enterprises and foreigners will withdraw from China. Currently, with China's economy declining, severe problems have emerged in various sectors such as the stock economy, real estate, foreign investment, manufacturing, and exports. At such a time, the CCP's intensified crackdown on espionage will certainly exacerbate the economic situation. However, the economy has never been the CCP's top priority. For a dictatorship, maintaining power is more important than the economy. In fact, the Xi regime is currently very unstable, with a high risk of power shifts. Xi Jinping is worried about internal unrest and wants to block the possibility of people reaching out to foreigners for help. Therefore, he aims to close this avenue using espionage charges. In 2024, the mass exodus of foreign enterprises from China due to political movements will continue, if not worsen. The phenomenon of businesses and factories closing early or going on vacation will gradually increase, and the sight of factories facing depression and bosses fleeing will become the new normal. It's no wonder that international companies are cutting back on their investments and operations in China, and some are even pulling out altogether. The CCP's anti-espionage law is a major factor in this trend. It not only puts foreign companies' information security at risk, but also increases the level of scrutiny and control over them. This makes it very challenging for foreign companies to operate in China without constant worry.
Friends, the first batch of foreign investors to invest in China in 1985, including Hewlett-Packard, have already begun the process of company deregistration, and other branches are also following suit. Have you felt the chill in our Chinese market?
At the beginning of this year, foreign-funded companies such as HP canceled their companies in China. HP was among the first to invest in the People's Republic of China, yet they chose to withdraw from the Chinese market in 2024, indicating their low expectations.
What happened to the world's factory? After Foxconn and Samsung closed some subsidiaries one after the other, another Japanese company closed its branch in Suzhou. Is it because workers' wages are too high? Or is the rent too high? I think only industry leaders know the reason for this. I heard that this company used to have very good benefits, and it was not easy to get a job there. Employees pay 5 social insurances and 1 fund, and they are also issued shopping carts during holidays. The average salary reached 7,000 to 8,000 yuan a month. Based on that alone, I think they were better than many domestic companies. Why have such efficient domestic productivity and mature industrial chains not kept them? Are they still trying to leave? Bridgestone, the famous tire company, is shutting down their last tire factory in China at the end of February. It's a Bridgestone factory in Shenyang with about 1,200 employees. Since they're specialized in making tires, finding other work in the Northeast is going to be difficult. Some folks might even end up unemployed. Bridgestone was founded in 1931 in Japan by Shojiro Ishibashi. In 1988, they bought Firestone, a big American tire company, and then they became a major supplier for F1 racing tires. They were major sponsors of the Olympics and Paralympics. But now they're pulling out of China because the commercial tire market isn't doing well. Some experts are saying that if Bridgestone leaves China, it could mean tough times ahead for the whole Chinese tire industry. It's worrying. After those 1,200 employees get their severance, how will they make a living?
Data from official Chinese sources reveals record foreign capital withdrawal from China in 2023. According to a Sunday release from the China State Administration of Foreign Exchange, foreign direct investment liabilities plummeted by 82% to $33 billion in 2023, reaching the lowest level since 1993. In fact, the third quarter of 2023 marked the first negative value for international investment in the Chinese market since 1998. Although there was a slight rebound in the fourth quarter, the figure remained 1/3 lower than the same period in 2022. Simultaneously, data from the Chinese National Bureau of Statistics showed a 6.7% year-on-year decline in industrial and corporate profits for foreign-funded enterprises in China last year. Bloomberg reports that data from the Chinese State Administration of Foreign Exchange show net flows indicating that international investment in the Chinese market is currently in an extremely depressed state. Geopolitical tensions and the rise in interest rates in other regions have made outflows inevitable. For multinational companies, the decline in deposit rates in China makes it increasingly attractive to keep cash overseas rather than in China. The significant withdrawal of foreign capital contrasts with the prosperity propagated by China. Following the Chinese New Year, the Ministry of Culture and Tourism's data center recently released calculations stating that during the New Year holiday, 474 million trips were made domestically, with a total expenditure of 633 billion yuan. The sales of key retail and catering enterprises nationwide increased by 8.5% year-on-year, According to state media, the Chinese economy kicked off on a positive note, as indicated by consumption data during the Chinese Lunar New Year. This data covers various sectors such as tourism, dining, retail, transportation, and cinema. However, public opinion suggests that the current consumption trends may not reflect genuine prosperity. Despite the apparent high spending in the hundreds of billions, there's actually a contradiction in consumption totaling trillions. This phenomenon is often referred to as the lipstick economy, where the apparent prosperity is driven by sales of cheaper products due to the economic downturn. A finance influencer with 3.8 million followers called Big Liu says, commented that as the West and China decouple economically, this trend is irreversible. Therefore, stimulating domestic consumption is of major importance. However, over the past decade, the Chinese economy has fundamentally changed, leading towards recession or even depression. On January 15, 2024, the Japanese Chamber of Commerce and Industry in China published a survey report. It revealed that because most Japanese companies in China are pessimistic about the Chinese market, they scaled back or completely withdrew their investments in China during 2023. Bill Winters, CEO of Standard Chartered, expressed a similar view last week during the World Government Summit in Dubai. He said the biggest problem facing the CCP is a confidence deficit. External investors lack confidence in the CCP, as do domestic depositors. In other words, due to various extreme behaviors and policies, the CCP government lacks credibility both in front of the Chinese people and in the international market.